Hello, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Preston Jacobs. We are um, talking about some whatevs, some ice and fire, whatever you like. So one of the things I was going to talk about tonight, if I let's get everything getting ready, making sure that everything's not glitching here. Okay. One of the things I want to talk about tonight is fantasy maps in general. Oh my, some tickle in my throat. Fantasy maps in general are pretty, you know, they're usually somebody's doodles. They often people don't think about it too much geographically, like nature, where cities ought to be, things like that. And so let's talk about Ice and Fire for a second and the map of the world. I've taken the map of the South and I've just popped it on top of the map of the North here. And I wanted to talk about where things really should be um, on the map. Because I was thinking about this. You've probably heard me if you listen to me enough talk about how Salt Pans is ridiculous. That Salt Pans is this tiny little village when it's at the mouth of the Trident where all of this commerce would come through, and yet it's just this tiny little village. And even beyond that, like Lord Haraway's town and all of that, it's not really that big. um, you know, you end up just with these. King's Landing is enormous, and yet there's no real major cities upon the Blackwater Rush that they're trading with. So you're like, what's causing this city to be so huge? Um, so let's talk about some of this. Let's see if I've got um, exactly where this um, where we can figure some of this out. So when we start with Ice and Fire, you got to remember that the first men supposedly came across the broken arm, and we can compare this a little bit to people coming across the Bering Strait because it was supposed to happen 14,000 years ago and stuff like that. Maybe it was by ship, maybe the glaciers were bigger and so the water levels were different and they just walked over. But it's fundamentally different from when American Indians or the ancestors of American Indians crossed the Bering Straits, uh, in the sense that they were not fighting indigenous peoples, while the first men were. The first men were entering into Westeros, which was occupied by the Children of the Forest, and they were at war with them. And so that's kind of fundamentally different. Unlike the migration into Americas, which happened incredibly fast, that people crossed down and then, for the most part, had their population centers in Mexico, and Mesoamerica was where most people lived. You don't hear, I mean, you hear about the American Indian tribes and stuff, but they were actually relatively small population wise compared to what was going on in Mesoamerica. And so people like rush down there really quick. That Don't think that was really possible with the first men. The first men would have had to been fighting the entire time. They would have been having to establish settlements, to go to war. And so you kind of look at the first kingdom of Westeros would have absolutely been Dorne. And you kind of look, and who knows exactly about geography, but I don't see why Sunspear would be a place where you'd sort of establish, your large settlements. You'd probably have your large settlement be at Lemonwood or maybe God's Grace or something like that. You're up down river. You can do a lot of trade on the Green Blood, and this would be the center of your large kingdom. Would be the capital in the middle, at the center of all of these rivers, has good water access. I think God's Grace would probably be the real capital of Dorne and the first major city of of uh, of Westeros. Really, that should be the first kingdom, the first Dornish kingdom, capital God's Grace. Like that really makes sense to me. Um, but the But for some reason, Sunspear, Sandship, I mean, I don't know what's the deal with the Sandship. Is it a spaceship? Is it something futuristic? Whatever. But after this, so you've got this first establishment, which I guess there's not that many werewoods, in Dorne probably. Maybe the weather was different at the time. It's hard to say. But you then have to start thinking about this first battle, battling across the mountains of Dorne against the Children of the Forest. And of course, they're successful in the end. But you get these first... Let's make sure that this... I'd say you get these first kind of Reacher settlements. You're busting through, trying to find good places to settle. It totally makes sense that you'd go for Highgarden. Highgarden is a really good location. It's at the connection of all of these rivers. So that makes sense that like Highgarden should be the most important city in the Reach. I'm totally down with that. However, the Shield Islands are clearly very important strategically. There you have all of this commerce and trade and everything can go out at this port. So really Shield Islands should be massive. Highgarden should be the metropolis. Highgarden taking, absolute control of all of these rivers to get across. So I can totally see Highgarden being the center, or controlling these rivers and just the spread of the Reach Kingdom. This makes sense to me too. Okay, and maybe there's a split at some point. The Dornish and the Reachers stop getting along. I don't see why Old Town would be this massive center. Like, who are they trading with at this point? The children, like, clearly not the Children of the Forest, like, right? So which means you're going the other way, which means to get there, you've got this long coast that doesn't have any ports. Like, it makes more sense that Starfall would be a port rather than Old Town, because it's closer. I don't see why Old Town would become so huge and why it became the most populous city prior to the Targaryen invasion. It makes no sense to me. But so then you're the Reach here. Okay, this expansion. I don't see why. Now, Children of the Forest, they're living in forests. Okay, these forests that's some hard fought area for the Children of the Forest here. But say you are able to like go in and conquer them. I don't see why Storm's End would ever be built. I'm just thinking about the First Men here. Let's say they've conquered the Mander Valley and of the Reach here. Highgarden should be like one of your oldest cities. You should be focusing on the Shield Island, commerce. Maybe there's a split with Dorne, but then what's Storm's End doing? Like, there's no viable port there. You could maybe argue that you could get something at Stonehelm. Maybe like Stonehelm is where you could get a port. But there's your Reacher Kingdom. The problem is that it's, all of this is not very defensible. So I don't see how like the Stormlands Kingdom should be like just Cape Wrath maybe, because this is just not defensible. Like the Reacher Kingdom, who is just all of this land and power, they can just reach and strike into the Stormlands so easily. And in fact, this area here, Tumbleton, should be really, really important as well, because you're talking about trying to connect commerce from the Mander to the Blackwater Rush and Blackwater Bay. So the Reach should be fighting for this area all the time. This should be primary fighting area. Like the fact that like the Targaryens came and King's Landing was just a fishing village. I'm sorry, what? like this prime area that connects the two river areas of Blackwater Rush and the Mander Valley, not to mention Blackwater Bay, and it's just going to be some fishing valleys. No, the Reach would totally focus on that. You know, I don't see why people like how the Westerlands would ever become a very powerful kingdom. You know, I admit people could live in the hills, and maybe the hills would make them hard to invade. But you know, you're not talking about a very powerful kingdom here. Because keep in mind, this is Bronze Age stuff, so you're going to need some tin. So I imagine they're finding tin in some of these mountains. Maybe they can get some tin around here, but you got to remember, like, tin trade is super important here. All right, finding tin. Anyway, I just see the Westermen being this tiny little kingdom up here. The Reach just dominating because they're getting all the fertile land and all connection. Meanwhile, okay, now they've gotten, you know, once they conquer King's Landing, they've got this valley here, you know, too. And then we've got the Riverlands, which did I not create? Let's create. I gotta get a shape for the some fish. Here we go. Did I get a fish? Let's change that color. Red, I guess. All right. Let's say you get this Riverlands Kingdom. And man, it should not be focused on Riverrun. It should be focused on, because Riverrun, you're getting a few things, right? Like, but most of the power should be down at Lord Harroway's Town, where all of this comes together. Lord Harroway's Town, that area, should be the center of thing. Harrenhal kind of makes sense as a center as well, because you're talking about all of the commerce coming down from the Trident and then crossing it into the trade that you could do from Blackwater Bay. Though it's not really like that much more, considering you can just go at salt pans. But nonetheless, the Riverman Kingdom should really be centered around Lord Harroway's Town, not Riverrun or anything like that. And then the Vale, I mean, I guess you can argue that you could have some Vale people here, like hiding in the hills. It's defensible, but they're just not a very powerful kingdom. They've got one port, you know, that you can, you know, you got the Gulltown port, fine. I'll accept that this is here. Okay. And then the north, I can accept Winterfell as the center of things. White is a bad color because you can't see it. But I can accept that. And Winterfell has these hot springs and such. But, okay, being the center of everything. But again, you're going to have, like, yeah, this huge Moat Cailin thing. And then meanwhile, the Iron Islands, no one would let such a very close island chain that doesn't even have like that large of a population with not very much like fertile land, like constantly harry them. Like, that's just ridiculous. They would have conquered these guys in a second. There's just no way that all of these kingdoms would be like, you know what? Let's just leave these pirates to constantly like kidnap our women. It just wouldn't happen. It just people, you know, the Riverlands, Seaguard, they would just come in and just take this. Like, this is ridiculous. No one would possibly allow the Iron Islands to exist. Okay, so looking at this, I guess the idea is that, once the Westerlands finds gold, they start getting more powerful, but they just don't have all the food. Like, the Reach, it's just such a dominant amount of land and wealth and that they have here they have pretty good protection from the south. Um, I guess if maybe they're at war with the Riverlanders constantly, but we're talking like completely um where do they even get wood for boats? I think the reach must be filled with lots of trees too. I mean, and then once the reach establishes like a port at King's Landing, and they've got a port on the other side. The reach is just unstoppable with this commerce. Um, I don't see how there would be seven kingdoms at this point. Um, I guess they have to, maybe because they have to defend themselves from both sides, and maybe that like the the tiny kingdoms of the Stormlands and the Westerlands and the poor Dornish, they're constantly like attacking them. But the story of Westeros history should be there was one fucking kingdom. It was called the Reach, and everybody else was just fucking attacking them constantly. Now the North, they have so much land. They should definitely have a lot of people there. I know they're like, oh, it's colder and not as many, you can't grow as much on the ground. It's like you got a lot of fish, so much wilderness. I could definitely see more population. So I could see the North being stronger than it is, almost indefensible. It's just so much of it. But the fact that you've got this neck and it's got ports, many a ports to do trade, White Harbor, rivers everywhere to get in. The North should be massively wealthy, and the Reach should be massively wealthy. And I just don't see why anyone else would have that much power. Certainly not like we kind of think of the Seven Kingdoms as being equal in power, or somewhat equal in power, and it just doesn't make any sense. It just So also capitals, God's Grace and Lemonwood, massively important. Should be Highgarden and the Shield Islands should be massively important. Not to mention, they should have established something at Blackwater Bay earlier. The Riverlands should have something at Salt Pans. Lord Haraway's town should be the center of everything. This should be down here. The Twins, I don't know why the Twins would be very important. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. The Twins should not be a thing. And then, these isolationists, I guess the Vale can be isolationist. They should be honestly, the Vale should be more integrated with the Seven Kingdoms than it would be with the rest of, well, I'm sorry, the Vale should be more integrated with Essos than it should be with the Seven Kingdoms. Just in the same sense as they kind of say that about Dorne, but it should be more so with the Vale, based on its geography. Like, you just can't get anywhere. But I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if this is an interesting topic or not, but we'll come back. I'm sure there'll be some questions about this, but all of these things are like, there's no reason that Lannisport and Casterly Rock should be a thing. Maybe we're talking about like the Long Night and subterranean living or something. These are the things that happened. The Vale should just not have. The Vale should not be a thing. It should be like part of Essos. The North should be massively powerful. The Reach should be massively powerful, and everybody else, man, the Riverlands should be doing okay. But everybody, like the Westermen and the Stormlands, like nothing. They should have nothing. There should be no Storm's End or whatever hydroelectric plant they put there. That's the thing, is if you're gonna have a story on why Sunspear, Storm's End, Casterly Rock, Erie, Riverrun, like became so important, you have to like have some other reason that we don't know about. Anyway, I'm sure some other questions will come in here. Okay, let's get to um I think all previous time traveling brand. Oh wait. Here we go. Actually, somebody said something here. Might as well make the Seven Kingdoms use base 7 as a system to make math harder for everything they do, just to make that lucky 7 for everything. It is odd that 7 became this lucky number in Western society. The I don't. I think it's probably because 7 is so difficult that it became that way. That it doesn't go into things easily. Um, that'd be my guess. I think all previous time traveling brands fell into the sinkhole, time traveled in weightlessness, and died on the spikes to stay in the new timeline. Yeah, that's essentially what I think is going on. I think essentially that if Bran is I do think it's like Groundhog's Day, and so I think time traveling Bran is trying to get out of that sinkhole, and he keeps falling, and he keeps getting impaled. But before he lands, he time travels and joins the time travel collective of previous Brands. Certainly, his vision showed previous dreamers impaled on spikes. We kind of know that Hold the Door has something to do with time travel. We know that the door is in a sinkhole. So these are the sorts of things that I've kind of like pieced together, that I kind of envision that there's this inverse tower, a sinkhole with spikes at the bottom, and that Bran hasn't been able to get out of that sinkhole, and so he's been rewriting history to give himself the tools to get out. And I think the tools include Hodor. I think they include Mira. I think they include Summer, and I think they include maybe Ghost. To help him come out. But yes, in Under Siege, the time traveler needed to die in his old timeline to stay and make his changes stick. Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. That is what happened in Under Siege. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, Under Siege is an old George R. R. Martin story that stars a character who's exactly like Tyrion. He's a dwarf. He's a noseless dwarf who's an alcoholic, is always dealing with unrequited love, and likes to play chess. And he time travels to try to change a moment in history related to Russia, thinking it's going to affect the Soviet Union and such in the current timeline. And he time travels. Well, yeah, he poisons himself. Is that it? I think he does something before, so he'll die and stay in the past. He's able to successfully stay in the past and eliminate his timeline. And everyone in the timeline knew that he was going to eliminate the timeline, and they were all fine with that. They're like, this world is fucked. It's a nuclear holocaust. 99% of society has died. We're all fine with our existence blinking out of we're all fine with it blinking out of existence. We just want to change the timeline. And so he blinked it out of existence, Oh, Pluribus already. Carmine was wondering, well, how long until somebody brought up Pluribus. Pluribus, I think we can all agree that the villain is Unity, right? So when do you think the Earth Savior comes into the show, and who will they cast to play the universe's smartest man? Well, it's interesting that they keep going back and forth, and on is the Hive Mind Collective evil? Is it misguided? Is it a tragic story? Is it an infliction from some hostile alien race? Because obviously, the collective is not viable. It's all starving, and it will die in 10 years. That is ridiculous. The self-imposed death of itself. that it will starve. Um, and the solution where she's just like, go pick an apple, and that like is the end of it. So I don't know if the collective is the villain, or just misguided because of because it's still kind of the tool of whatever this alien race did, right? Like the aliens forced, like that's their whole thing, is to cause other intelligent races to destroy themselves peacefully, and in a that kind of system is just. So maybe that's what's going on, but it's true that like maybe the unity, the hive mind can be convinced to change its ways to survive, but it knows, at this point the morality is kind of out the window. Like before, you're like you could argue, oh, maybe the world is better off in the hive mind situation. There's no war, everyone seems pretty happy, maybe humanity should exist that way. They removed that moral question, that question that was popped up in episode 2 of maybe it's better that everybody's a hive mind. Well, no, clearly not, because they're going to die in 10 years, and so that moral question that's been removed from the table. Like clearly there is no question now that the hive mind must be stopped, because the hive mind is talking about like killing itself, human death. So I do wonder if there's like going to be a split, like if the hive mind is going to split into different hive minds, like maybe there'll be 5 or 6 of them or something in factions. If the hive mind will change its mind and start eating, and start producing food for itself, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, everything's going to change once the Paraguayan comes into the fold. We've been waiting for the Paraguayan to change things. But yeah, I wonder how like genius is the Paraguayan. Is the Paraguayan some like super smart man? But I did love his little ending at the end. It's like, you're not my mother. My mother was a bitch. Oh, Carmine's here. Hello.
I haven't been waiting for the Paraguayan to change things. Sick of these South Americans in this country. Um,
Everybody loves Paraguayans, especially Brazil.
By the way, real quick, because I want to talk about Pluribus, but real quick, I showed Preston the lineup for the World Cup, and I'm like, yeah, it's America versus Paraguay. Preston goes, come on, Paraguay, come on,
Paraguay. I mean, you can put it this way: Paraguay, 2 World Cup wins, U.S. 0. So
you do realize the United States would be the greatest soccer nation ever if they just took it seriously, because the only people who really take soccer seriously are 12-year-olds, and then the moment they turn 13, it's either basketball, hockey, or American football.
Yeah, or baseball, yeah.
Or baseball, of course.
Yeah. The big American 3, and then our 4th is hockey, right? Yeah. But like, yeah, it's yeah, the big American 3 is American football, basketball, baseball. That's how our schools are structured. I mean, there is soccer, there are soccer teams, but yeah, the big money making professional avenue at the end of, I mean, the big money making college thing and the big money making professional thing are the big 3.
Right. The only people who take soccer seriously are children and women, because of the women's U.S. team is the best.
It's incredible. Yeah, the women's U.S.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
So,
yeah.
But real quick,
but again, no one really cares about women's sports. I mean, like, there's
hey, look,
except for people that want to bash trans people, then all of a sudden they care. But...
or when Caitlin Clark is playing, but then another story altogether. Pluribus, yeah. We were talking about this briefly. You were wondering like what's up with Carol and why people don't like her.
I mean, she's
our
not
mutual
supposed to
friend.
be likable. She's not
Sure,
supposed to
sure,
like right. She's
but
supposed to represent the unlikable part of ourselves. It's a very interesting protagonist because she's a very relatable protagonist, but she's an uncomfortable protagonist because she reminds us all of ourselves, of like the annoying aspects of ourselves that we like try to push down, you know.
sure, why not? I mean, like, sure, but you were asking me like we were talking about that, and our mutual friend Nick posted something in the Discord, and I thought it was hilarious. This person says, "Pluribus is funny because I can completely understand avoiding a white lady who can't control her temper, thrives on making people feel uncomfortable, believes she's the smartest person in the room, and demands everyone speak English in her presence." And other folks are like, "But come on," and that's so true. That is so. She's kind of a Karen, just a tad,
Well,
just a little
sure.
bit. Hmm.
Sure, but I mean, also be fair. Like, be fair to the situation and say, okay, if the character were a man, would people criticize the character as much? You
I
know,
think so. Probably even more so. I think
I don't
so.
know. I don't know. Like her being demanding of the other 11, um, of the like, and her coming off as grating. Like, if yeah, I kind of feel like if we're a male character, everyone would be like, why aren't they listening to him? He's right. You know. Um, I don't know. I don't find her that unlikable. I actually find that the characters in the show think she's more unlikable than I find her. You know, they're all like for instance, when she comes to Vegas to talk to the Mauritanian, um, he's like she mentions that she was going to spend the night, and he got this look like, oh no, and it's like, I'm sorry,
Because he wants to go back to bang in the hive. Like
right,
he's having a good time.
right, but it's one fucking day. We're talking about a massively important thing. We're talking about the future of humanity. And it's only been 10 days since every single person in the world has been made into a hive mind. And he can't even like have her hang out for another day. Like,
Maybe he doesn't like her. I think you massively misunderstand
right, but
other
no, look,
nations'
do you
ability to
understand?
tolerate
There's a lot
Americans.
of people I don't like that I deal with on a day to day basis. It's called going to work. Okay, like, what are you talking about? Like, we all fucking like have people that we don't like that we interact with daily. Yeah, that's what human beings do. We tolerate other annoying people. He couldn't tolerate her for a fucking day. She wasn't that grating.
You underestimate other nations, other people from other countries' ability to tolerate white Americans. You underestimate that. You underestimate even in this important situation.
He's from
Clearly, like
Mauritania, one of the poorest fucking countries in the world. Okay?
now he's flying an Air Force One. He wants to have a good
Right.
time.
One of the most impoverished, harsh environments filled with like religious fundamentalists who are eager to tell you everything that you're doing wrong. Okay? Like, don't tell me that like a Mauritanian like is gonna be like, oh, this woman from New Mexico, she's so harsh. Like, come on. Come
How are
on.
you enjoying the latest episodes, by the way? Because I think my issue with the show is because I've seen Breaking Bad, I've seen all of it, I've seen all of Better Call Saul, I've seen El Camino, I've liked all three. Vince Gilligan's strength is not only writing these great main characters, but also these side characters that help that help keep up the show. In fact, I would argue Walt and Jesse are the least interesting things about Breaking Bad. Like they're great, but I love the side characters. Same thing with Better Call Saul. Saul was cool. Kim was cool, also played by Rhea Seehorn. But man, every single side character was so fucking amazing. Where are all the great side characters here? Carol is great. I like Carol,
Oh, we
but
got some great. I mean, we just don't have as many. I mean, I like the Mauritanian's a fascinating character, and I'm really fascinated with the Paraguayan. And I like
sure,
the Indian woman too. Like, I think they're all really interesting
really,
characters. There's just not that
really.
many of them, you know.
That's where Vince Gilligan really shines, and I don't see how we get 4 seasons of just Carol doing the same thing over and over again.
Well,
Where she's
she's
just
not
very
doing.
upset.
See, I would say this is very different than say Breaking Bad. If I were to criticize Breaking Bad, it's that there was, and Breaking Bad is a great show, but at the same time, like he kind of just did the same thing over and over again for 5 seasons. Like they're like, oh, we need to make some meth. And you're like, oh, when are they going to make meth again? Make some meth. And then, oh, wait, how are we going to sell this meth? Oh, we got to talk to some gangsters. Oh, but these gangsters are dangerous. How are you going to deal with them? We'll figure out a way. I would say that the plot of Pluribus is more volatile than the plot of Breaking Bad.
By the way, I will say what this guy here said is a good point. The Maritanian guy and the other unjoined are basically us, depending on AI. Who needs friends when you can make your own? Who cares if it's ending the world? Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's a really dark question. Like it was one thing when you thought that everything was going to be fine and they were living, but now you kind of know that there's this time limit. And he's just sitting there consuming. He's just consuming selfishly and doesn't care. But granted, it's only been 10 days. It's only been 10 days. He's from Mauritania, so he was probably a virgin before. And I'm being 100% honest here. He was probably a virgin before the event, unless he was already had a marriage arranged for him. So the fact that he's like having sex with beautiful women for the first time and living his best life, because Mauritania sucks. Like, don't get me wrong.
This guy here goes, Carmine needs to learn some patience. All these characters are introduced later. I'm just saying how Vince Gilligan, this is his like strong suit, is writing these side characters. Even in the first few seasons, in the first couple episodes, we had some really good side characters. I'm surprised you find Mauritania guy. You find him interesting, or even the Indian woman. They're okay.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you, like, oh my God, like, you want to, here, this is.
By the way, to the person who said Nacho carried the last season of Better Call Saul, buddy, Lalo carried that season. He was one of the best villains I've ever seen. I love Lalo so much.
Well,
Tony Dalton.
I was talking about the blonde kid from Friday Night Lights, who's now in everything. What's his face? What did he play?
The blonde kid, Pete Davidson.
No. And the psychopath Nazi kid. The psychopath Nazi kid in the
Tom Holland. Like, who are you talking about?
I don't know his name. He was in that Civil War movie.
Oh, Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons, yeah.
I was purposely going off wrong names, but yes, Jesse Plemons married Kristen Dunst. Yes.
He married Kristen Dunst.
Mary Jane. Yeah.
Interesting.
Why did his most infamous line? What kind of Americans are you?
Yeah. Look. Here's Mauritania, man. Mauritania, like, it's a dry, desolate, religious fundamentalist. Like,
have you been there?
I have not. It's I have had friends who have traveled through, but it's like I've been to southern Morocco, and once you get into the funny thing about a lot of the world is you go someplace and you're like, oh man, they're so strict and they're so conservative. And then you go a little bit further and you're like, oh my God, like those people back there were liberal as hell. Like that's like Morocco as you head south. You're like, you get to Morocco and you're like, oh man, they're so religious and like strict here. And then you go south to like into the Berber region and you're like, oh shit. Like, oh, they were liberal. The Arabs were liberal. Oh my God. Like that's the way, like Mauritania is just like going to the extreme. Oh my God. But yeah.
Somebody was like, Preston, that's not a real place. You looked up Tatooine.
I know. Well, Tatooine's in is in Tunisia, which is pretty close.
Right, right. So, how are you feeling about the episode 5 and 6? 5 was all right.
It was
6,
good. It was good. I
you
liked
know,
it. I liked it all. I mean, I do like how the big subversion of expectations is when they did the big like cliffhanger. Everybody's like, yeah, they're eating people. It's Soylent Green. Like, and everybody's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's not quite a twist. But the twist that wasn't the twist. The twist was no one gave a fuck. Yeah, they're eating people. No one gives a fuck. Like that was the twist.
I,
It was like, yeah, you got me.
I'm having a good time. Would you so far? Would you put this in your top 5? Because we got to do that live stream top 5 shows of the year.
Well,
Would
I
you put
gotta
this in
wait.
your
We gotta
top
see where it
5?
goes. But I
Hmm.
mean, we've got so many good shows. But yeah, so far, I mean, I guess I put it in the top five. So many good shows this year.
I'm still invested. It's just,
You know,
man, Carol is such a Debbie Downer. God damn. Just Carol, enjoy a race of sports car or something. Fuck.
I'm so. I
Just
mean, on the other hand, like billions of people have died already. like
not
her
billions. A
her
couple
wife
million.
died like not 10 days ago. So like, give her a break. Give her a break. Her
All
wife's been dead
right.
10
All right.
days.
I
Okay.
guess I would be Maritania guy. I just have a good time.
The
I
the
would
problem
literally
is
have
it's been 6 weeks for you. It's been 10 days for her.
fair. I look. All I'm saying is, I would be like Maritania guy. I would find George R. R. Martin in the hive mind and ask him like, how does it end? And I would have them recreate Game of Thrones in my image. You know, you would do the same. You know, you would do the same. You know, you would.
I mean, they could probably write it pretty easily. They have all
That's right.
the writing abilities of every writer of all time. Yeah. Um, Preston, I'm surprised how many people are repeating that Netflix bought Warner and expecting a change to Duncan Egg. It won't be finalized for 2 years. It might not happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I think this entertainment monopoly is going nowhere good. Monopoly never makes anything good. Like nothing good comes out of Monopoly. Like that's like I don't know like why anyone would be happy about this. They should like if it weren't for like corrupt people in government like allowing this to happen who've been bought Trump administration like this like like the antitrust should be breaking up, Netflix and like immediately for this kind of bullshit. They should have broken up Facebook a long time ago and Meta a long time ago, and they should have broken up Google and all sorts of things. But um, watch my stream suddenly end. Like I just insulted Google. Um,
Dragon
no,
Demands hits me up privately. He's just panicking, like, dude, what's going on, dude? I'm like, well, by the way, just in case people are curious, what does this mean for like Game of Thrones and HBO? We don't really know, but this is not a good thing for adaptations because I watched The Witcher, and I know Preston has been like pushing me like to cover Witcher with him. Dude, I don't want to because it's just season 8 again and again and again and again for 4 fucking seasons straight. I don't
how
want to
many
do that.
season eights can you
How many season 8s can I take? And here's the thing though. Remember, Netflix so when the Tolkien estate were running out of money and they were like, all right, who wants to give us some money for this? HBO, Netflix, and Amazon put in bids. Netflix had the highest bid, but the most dog shit idea for a Lord of the Rings TV show to the point where it scared the Tolkien estate, and they went with Amazon, who had the lower bid. You know what HBO's idea was, by the way? Did I ever tell you?
Mm.
For Lord of the Rings. HBO, I'm so upset with them because they had a chance to have both Ice and Fire and Lord of the Rings. HBO's idea to the Tolkien estate was, we're going to redo the movies. Who wants that?
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants that? So Netflix just, it's not good, man. Prepare to have like all of the spin-offs of every single Game of Thrones character ever. Shitmouth spin-off, Nimble Dick spin-off, which I'm sure Trey's
100
happy
years, daggers,
about that.
man, all daggers.
Literally 100 years. You're not. I'm not. It's not even a joke now.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, until it's not profitable. But I mean, Netflix only is able to manage having like a few profitable series of its own before, and then like it's got Bridgerton, it's got Wednesday, and it has Stranger Things, right?
Every now and then they put out some gold, but a lot of it is just slop dog shit.
Yeah,
You ever watch
yeah.
Marco Polo?
Yeah, you loved Marco Polo.
I thought it was great. You ever see it? It was fucking
No,
phenomenal.
no,
And
I
they
never
stopped
did.
at season 2. Oh, dude, you would love. You love. This is up your alley. I know you like the Asian stuff. Like this is up your alley.
I mean, sometimes I mean the Asian like my anyway. My feeling is on Asian history. Um, it's certain periods of Asian history I find fascinating, but it's not like I'm into it like at all points. Like it's the same with like European history. Like I actually, believe it or not, I actually find the most boring history English history. I think English history,
Really?
British history, the most boring. It's just this, just another king goes to war with Scotland. Another fucking king goes to war with Scotland. Oh, and then this king usurps this king, and it's just like endless. It's so boring. 1,000 years of like nameless kings going to war with Scotland. Like it's just well, when you look at like when you look at like how vibrant and interesting Spanish and Italian history like and or Byzantine history is, like it's just I find it more interesting like that I find Southern Europe more interesting actually than northern history, just because
Hmm.
every king they're just so forgettable. um it's the same with like Chinese history is really tough until the 20th century when it becomes fucking fascinating. But
Give me an
you know,
example of 20th history Chinese, 20th
well, I
century
mean,
Chinese.
once you're in the 20th century, then you're talking about like the Republic of China forms and the communists and like
Oh, the
the
Boxer Rebellion, stuff like that.
well, the
And,
Boxer Rebellion is 19th century, but like
uh,
but you once the Republic of China comes around and you've got World War II the Chinese Civil War and World War II and the resumption of the Chinese Civil War and the like once Mao and just Mao's nuts, and so what, and like Mao's ruling of China is crazy, and then interesting stuff happens with Deng Xiaoping, and it's just 20th century Chinese history is fucking fascinating. But Chinese history before that, you're just like, oh god, the second Three Kingdoms period, Southern Tang
really,
Dynasty. You're just like, oh my
you don't
god, it's
find
just.
the Three Kingdom stuff or the Mongol stuff? None of that interest,
I think the
really.
Mongols is interesting. I do, and I think the Manchu stuff is interesting too. But that's almost not Chinese. Like you're like, oh,
Hmm.
Chinese history gets interesting when they get invaded by somebody that's not Chinese. Like, yeah.
That's fair.
But
That's fair. That's fair.
and it's just it can be very, it can all run together from an outsider perspective. I'm sure to some Brit you're like, how dare you confuse King Harold of Luxembourg like with King Edward of Duschenberry. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Duschenberry.
I don't know. I mean, I do think Cromwell is super interesting, like that period, but I don't know. English history is not for me, which is funny. My father is fascinated by English history. I just not that into it. I
You know
much
what it
prefer
is, man? It's because
Spanish.
like English history gets romanticized so much in the West, but you're right.
Mm.
Like the Southern European hit, like Spain and Italy and all that stuff, not so much. Netflix does have like the Borgias, which is what was isn't that like Italy? But there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of that going
Yeah,
on.
well, that's the thing is,
It's
it's
always knights and Vikings.
yeah, yeah, you're right. It is knights and like English knights and Vikings. Yeah, no, but I find Spanish history much more interesting, just because you're dealing. I don't know. It's also you're dealing with much bigger cultural clashes. To me, when you're talking about like Moors versus versus uh, the more well you had like the Germanic tribes in there before, but then the Moors come in, and then like Charlemagne, the Reconquista, Christians come in, like all that I find a lot more interesting because just the different cultural clashes as well. But versus like I don't know, Scottish versus English, whatever.
Someone asked me, like, Carmine, what about Brazilian history? There's not much, you know. The Portuguese come and then we kick a ball, and
There's that
that's like,
there's that 10 years you got where you were Portugal in exile. You were you were the Portuguese Empire in exile for 10 years. That was
I mean,
interesting.
look, like, again, like, there's not really much to Brazil. It's the Portuguese come, and then stuff happens. We kick a ball, and then stuff happens, and then 7-1, and then we all die.
There
So
there
that's
was a
pretty much.
war. There was a war where Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay all went to war with. No, I'm sorry. Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina all went to war with Paraguay. That was yeah. And you're like, what an unfair war. Yes, yes, it was. Um, do you have fond memories of the University of Maryland? I was undergrad in 2004. So I was, I guess I was there around the same time. I went to grad school in Maryland, have a master's in public policy, but like yeah, fond memories, of course. I have fond memories of most times of my life. But the thing is, like, as a grad student, you don't feel as connected to the campus. It's not undergrad. It's not a defining time of your life. But it's not like University of Maryland. It's fine. There's like three bars, but Cornerstone. Definitely went to Wednesday night. You know, at Cornerstone because of the dollar rum and cokes. But there's some. It was nice. I like Maryland and all. Um, but when you're not an undergrad, it's not the same. It's not the same. I wasn't like hanging in dorms talking until 4 in the morning with people like you do when you're an undergrad. That kind of stuff. But it's the University of Maryland's very nice. College Park is very nice. You know, um, the let's see. Saw an interesting Planetos globe concept map on Twitter that puts Old Town, Kings Landing, and Marine at the same latitude. Um,
I sent it to you on Facebook if you want to see it.
sure. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, aren't they this? Yeah, aren't they the same?
You want to download it and put it up?
Sure.
It's a very interesting map. I actually quite like this. In fact, I would say this is my headcanon. Uh, this is my headcanon map for Planetos. I quite like it.
Okay, let me try to pull this out. My and then okay, so I see with the angle. So they're like putting Dorne as an angle. So you're saying like as it goes down, you're getting to the equator. Okay. King's Landing, Pentos, Shivering Sea. Oh, Winterfell's so far north though. Is that Winterfell above the 60 degrees? I'm like, is that no, because what's the Arctic Circle? 30 degrees? That line. Um Land of Always Winter. Okay. Put some other continents out there in the Sunset Sea. Hmm. Oh, but this makes okay, a shy like super far south. Okay. But this puts Marine at the same as around same as King's Landing. I mean, I suppose. I don't know if it changes too much, right? like Carmine to have this map, like shifting things, like angling things? I don't know if it
I
changes.
expected I expected Southaros. I don't know why Southaros to be like way bigger, and
Well, like
maybe that's just maps I've seen.
the descriptions in the world book are like that it goes on endlessly.
Hmm.
Yeah, but in Southaros is just like Africa itself, and it just keeps going. Um, a
I don't
thousand.
know. Maybe I would put Westeros just a little down because I feel like Dorne would be like a bit down more around. I don't know.
But I do like. I mean, I do like how now you don't have this like huge gap above Essos anymore because they're angling
Mm-hmm.
Westeros over it. Um, but
You kind of have to angle it that way to get the Land of Always Winter to be the North Pole and all that. So, eh.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah.
I will say I wish George would like actually come out of hibernation and actually look at this and be like, "Yep,
Sure,
that's it.
this is it. This is it. Good
That's your
job.
George impression."
That's the best. That's
Sure, that's the map I envisioned. By the way, did I ever tell
that's
you
the
about?
map I envisioned the whole time.
Did I ever tell you about my time in Bayonne, New Jersey? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think Westeros is intentionally massive to make it easier for nomadic armies like the Dothraki to wander around for Dandy's invasion. Um, yeah, I guess. It's too bad the Dothraki sea is so like so unrealistically large. The Dothraki have this, massive, massive land that they're wandering all by themselves. Um, but yeah, but I think it's the only reason that they had to make it so large is because they needed to be 9 months for Danny's pregnancy. Like, oh fuck, they've been walking for fucking 9 months, riding for 9 months. We better make the Dothraki Sea fucking enormous. But and so there it is. The I think the reach being too open makes some sense for why they don't dominate. It's similar to the Central Plains losing versus Guangzhou Valley in China. Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that when you're talking about like Chinese history. Like, no, like it was very hard for China was kind of very like I don't know. China thinking about China as one thing is kind of a retroactive like nature. Like like China's unified today, or this that is the land of China today, but not often in its history was it all conquered under Chinese rule. Um, like that. I mean, the Ming Dynasty is about it. Because before you've got like the Manchurians conquered all that land and the Mongols conquered all that land, but it was always kind of in little pieces, getting constantly at war with each other, much like a lot of European history. But like it's sort of like if United Europe became a country and then just started calling itself Rome, and then just like retroactively assigned all of this time. But it is true that like a lot of China was very difficult to defend internally. um, China's besides the Tibetan plateau, China's remarkably flat and difficult to defend. um, so um, when it was invaded, like it just people swept in and took the whole thing, like when the Mongols and the Manchurians did that. So maybe that's the case with the reach. It's just, but the thing is, the reach is a little different because there are the mountains of Dorne, and there all are like the high like, um, so it does have some natural boundaries to keep it safe. Of course, France did okay being in the middle of everything and being this big flat area. So, I mean, I guess France had its share of invasions like anywhere else. I guess every place has their fucking fair share of invasions. Um, Maybe not the Japanese. Uruguay. Oh, you're right. Wait a minute. Yeah, does Paraguay have any? It's Uruguay that has two. Paraguay has no World Cup wins? Damn it. They've appeared in the World Cup on 8 occasions and being in the finals in the 30s. Yeah, you're right. I confused. My mistake. I confused Uruguay and Paraguay. Um, but uh, but yeah, the yeah. But we want Paraguay to get one. Good old Paraguay. Man, everybody repeat it. This is the thing about like um, having a channel is anytime you make a mistake, you get fucking 500 people posting right after each other. Like, actually, you got this wrong. You got this wrong. Yeah, I fucked up. Okay. Paraguay didn't fucking win the World Cup. It was Uruguay. Jesus. But like, don't you like see the previous posts and then be like, okay, I don't need to be the 15th person to remind Preston of this. Like,
On one hand, it's annoying. On the other, it's engagement for the algorithm. So fuck it,
fair
whatever.
enough. But like like it's amazing though, where you're just like, no one's gone through the comments and seen that like 50 other people said something. Um, I know things don't really add up, but the House with the Red Door has to be originally intended by George R. Martin to be at Starfall, right? I wouldn't say that. Um, I don't know if George had any idea where the House of the Red Door originally was. Um, I mean, certainly, the story of Danny's childhood makes no sense. It makes no sense from the beginning, and it's kind of weird. And and then he doubles down on it, and he makes the facts about the House with the Red Door even worse. Like he could have just, there's lots of errors in Ice and Fire, like the fact that Catelyn says that there's no weirwood south of the neck. Okay, um, but George doubles down on the weirdness of the House with the Red Door many a times. You know, he can make a mistake and then retcon things and be like it's nothing, and we can all fucking move on with our lives. But House with the Red Door, no, he keeps fucking it. He keeps fucking with us. He keeps mentioning the lemons, um, and where they can grow. But do I think it was originally Starfall? Hmm. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The I think he just mystery boxed it, and he's just like, no. Like I understand that there's some things later where in a Storm of Swords, like George starts saying that like, oh, Robert went down to Dorne or John Aaron went down to Dorne and talked to Oberyn and stuff like that. And I don't know if we have any evidence that like George had that idea about the Dornish connection that early in a Game of Thrones. Um, so I don't know if he originally intended. I think the House with the Red Door was a mystery box. Starfall was a mystery box, and he just never. I mean, did he intend them to be the same mystery box? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's much evidence of that. I just don't think he had any idea at all. Um, mm, mm, mm. Oh, Western Sahara. Um, Western Sahara is a kind of interesting thing, in the sense that a lot of the world recognizes Western Sahara as independent, yet they don't have any government structure or the manpower to put up a resistance. While like Northern Cyprus, for example, or Taiwan are completely, utterly independent nations, and yet like they don't get recognized. So it's kind of a funny inverse on that. Next chapter, the fanfic. I'm probably gonna do Danny too. I'm gonna try to muscle it out and just be like and do that. Hota 3 is being worked on, but it's trying to there's a lot of characterization that I'm trying to work with it. So it's taking a lot longer, to make it work, because it is an unusual chapter with the storytelling. But I don't know. Carmine, you haven't read Hota 3 yet, have you?
Not yet. You sent it to me, right?
I'll send you the link again. But
How are we on 3 Hotas and only 1 Danny?
the second or two. Well, this will be 2 Danny's. Well, Hota's got more story to tell.
What?
Look, this Hota chapter is a very important chapter, and it needs to be there.
Bro, she's literally the fire in A Song of Ice and Fire, and
I know, but there's a fucking there's look the whole fuck Jesus Christ. Do I have to? No, look, I'll send you the fucking Hota chapter now,
no,
so that you can
I'm
read
sure
the end of it, and so you can understand why. No, now I'm fucking. Look,
people are like, bro, where's Jamie? Like that's. People want Jamie. People want Cersei. People want John to come back and Davos, and you're out of here working on Hota 3.
Look, man, there's a reason. Hota has a reason. Here, let me see here.
All right, someone pointed out we need more Arya chapters too. Kinda, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there'll be another Arya chapter somewhere soon. Let me see here. Okay. I'm sending the invite to you now, and then you can go to page here we go. Go and then go to the last story, Dark Star's story, which is on page 13 of the 15. So you got two. While I'm doing some other things, read the last 2 pages.
You sent it to me on my email.
Was that? Yeah,
to my email.
Send it to your
official
email.
What page?
Go to page 13 of the 15.
Okay.
And
just read that from that on.
Read Dark Star's story, and then and you'll understand why, why this chapter is rather important. Okay. I'll be answering questions, and you spend the next couple minutes doing that. Hold on. Bloodraven is a creation of the 2000s, but was there always an old man in a tree? As in, what was Bran supposed to find when George set his story up? Well, I don't think an old man in a tree necessarily, but there was always. I mean, obviously, the three-eyed crow appears in the first book. And so he's just kind of like, well, who is the three-eyed crow? What could it be? And so at some point, he comes up with the idea of Bloodraven, which the character of Bloodraven was invented for the Sworn Sword. And well, I want to say he invented it right before that, but nonetheless. And Bloodraven is essentially just Elric. I mean, they took the Elric's, Michael Moorcock's Elric, and he just grabbed this character and he threw him into the Sworn Sword story. And then he's like, well, what am I going to fucking do with him now? Okay, I'll hook him into the tree. I'll take the song for Leah Grishka, and I'll take that. So I don't think it was always supposed to be an old man. I don't think he knew what it was going to be. I think he mystery boxed it, and he's just like, okay, I've got this three-eyed raven. I've got this three-eyed crow. It's going to be something, but who's at the end of this? And um, and I guess it's kind of, if time traveling Bran is correct theory, it's kind of a red herring, right? Because it's not really Bloodraven. It's the three-eyed crow and everything is time traveling Bran. So I mean, it's fun, but maybe in the beginning, probably in the beginning, it was time traveling Bran, and then he gets Bloodraven, and then wants to make the red herring Bloodraven. So it's just, Bloodraven is kind of just this invented red herring. I guess from the beginning he probably knew that time traveling Bran was part of this whole thing. Because I mean, there's definitely like hints of time travel elements in the first book, and certainly in the second book, there's the hints of the time travel elements. Why no cell phones? When Carol is at the book signing, a fan says, I already unplugged my phone so she could read uninterrupted. Is signing before or after? Help me out with this question. I mean, I remember the signing. Was there something strange in there? Why are there no cell phones? I mean, I don't remember anything too weird about it. Because her wife is on the cell phone when she dies. She's looking at her cell phone and then falls. Um, is Fionacom a cell phone company? I've never heard of Fionacom. Is there Fionacom? I guess there is a Fionacom. Fictional. Oh, it's mentioned in Better Call Saul, this fake phone company. So that's what it is. Fionacom is just a Vince Gilligan um, cell phone company. The the Yeah, I don't know if there's anything. I mean, if there was something strange with the cell phones, they haven't really followed up with it at all. But I could see them want it, like the hive mind should want to shut all that down as it's inefficient, like it's wasting energy. But I don't remember anything so weird about the phones. I mean, obviously on TV, people are. It's not as entertaining to have everybody staring at their phones constantly like we do in real life. So people do use cell phones less on TV in general, just because it's more entertaining if people don't have phones. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the phone thing. Um, Asking a hive mind to write the Winds of Winter is funny considering it's an analog for ChatGPT. Kind of. I think the hive mind is more creative than ChatGPT can ever be. um, the only good monopolies are the military. It can't be a competitive industry, water and electricity. Um, well, that's not what a monopoly is. A monopoly is specifically like when there's somebody like purchasing something. Like the government providing services is not really a monopoly. That's just the government providing a service. There's certain things that are like inherently governmental functions, and they should have been. Some things have been contracted out, which is horrible. But we used to think war fighting was one of those things that should be an inherently governmental function, but now we contract that too. Um, but And I guess people do try to do these competitive water and electricity things, but those don't work. But that's when the idea with the monopoly thing is that if you have a the reason monopolies suck, right, is that the thing that makes capitalism function is competition. When two companies are competing with each other, they try to bring down the price until price equals marginal cost, and so you get relatively cheap things. So if we're talking about something like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? Like when you go and you try to get Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they're pretty damn cheap. They're everywhere. They taste good and they cost next to nothing. You go to the grocery store and you can buy a Coca-Cola for whatever 50 cents, okay, or a Pepsi for 50 cents. If they were a monopoly, they could charge they have a different pricing structure. And while like the military things that are inherently governmental, you're not charging the public for that. You know, that it's a service provided through taxes and government employees and things like this. So this is the big difference between when I say like when I talk about monopolies, I'm talking about things that we like commercially buy out there. So if one company owns everything, there's no competition, so the prices are going to go high and the quality is going to go down. That's what happens with monopolies. High prices, poor quality, because competition brings in high quality, low prices. That's why the primary reason why capitalism is great is competition. And so the minute you get to monopoly, you've removed the one good thing about capitalism. That was the thing, is the one good thing about capitalism is competition. So you get a monopoly, you've removed the one good thing. So you've got to break up every monopoly. It's like, I feel very strongly about this. Like, break them up. Thoughts on Star Trek 90210? Oh no. What is this?
He's talking about Star Trek Fleet Academy, which looks like dog shit.
Oh no. Well, it hasn't ever. I mean, I have not heard great things about like new Star Trek, and I'm talking about even. I mean, some people say Strange New Worlds isn't so bad, but
it's okay.
But I mean, everything since like Picard, and that was followed by Discovery and Strange New Worlds. Like, it's not really for me. It doesn't have the same interesting sci-fi premises that where you're like the Orville, where everybody says that the real Star Trek show is the Orville.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. It is. Orville is amazing.
So, yeah, somebody recently said there was an episode of Star Trek, and it was so amazingly bad that they were talking about it being the worst episode of Star Trek of all time, like beating out Spock's brain. And that is, apparently there was an episode of Strange New Worlds where Pike becomes a Vulcan and then all of a sudden starts feeling logically, like biologically, and you're like, how have you missed like what Vulcans were? Like from the beginning, like Vulcans aren't biologically logical. They're culturally logical. In fact, they feel emotions constantly, but they repress them. like, how did anyone ever write something that was so fundamentally against Star Trek that they would biologically make the Vulcans logical? But yeah, I don't know. How much more can Star Trek take a beating? I guess it's the same. I mean, maybe they'll be wrong. Maybe Star Trek will have their fucking Andor moment. You know how like Star Wars we just keep dragging it through the mud, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and then all of a sudden we get Andor, and we're like, fuck, what the hell?
I can safely tell you this right now: if you want like classic old school Star Trek, Orville. But if you want some of the best new Trek ever, Preston.
Hmm.
Lower Decks.
That's the cartoon.
Guarantee that's the cartoon. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, I did read those last 3 pages. So you're making first off, Dark Star. He's out of his mind.
What do you
But
mean?
is this the direction we're going with that character?
Yeah, I mean, how about how much you've read Dark Star? I mean, how much you've read for the whole thing?
You told me the pages you told me to
Yeah,
read,
yeah,
but
yeah. I
like,
mean, Dark Star's, there's not. What do you
is he
say,
just
Dark?
talking out of his ass though, or
No, no, I don't think
oh,
so. This is
okay.
what we're just. This is what we're that right. Like that's what I'm saying. It's a big. It's a big fucking reveal, right? Dark Star is revealing big information that needs to be fucking revealed. I'm answering that. I'm answering that mystery box, and that's the way it's going. You know. So, but you understand why like this chapter is important and
Mm-hmm.
why it needs some time to work it out. But yeah. So you're like shocked. You're like, oh god, I don't know. Is that it?
I feel like you've already told me this before. Like I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you told me this the treachery with the character in
yeah.
question. So
hmm but reading it now, you're like, oh no. But um, but yeah, that's there. That's there. But you can understand why this chapter had to come. Like there has to be a Hota 3 character. Because how else is this information going to come out except for through Hota 3?
through a So Spake Martin, or I guess a So Spake Preston.
Fuck So Spake Martins and So Six Prestons. What?
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Go Bills, I guess. I guess. Have you been watching American football? You a Jets fan?
no, no. I
No.
think the Bills won though. Let me see here. Yes, they did against the Bengals.
Um, Rivers are massively underutilized for borders. Well, that's true. So rivers and mountains are very interesting, actually. When it comes to uh, kingdoms and nation states, because um, rivers, for the most part, people live on both sides of, and generally speaking, the people on one side of the river and the other side of the river tend to be very similar. Um, but they're also rivers are often used as borders, which means you are taking a culture, cutting them in half, and being like, "Hey, you are culture A on this side, and you're culture B on this side." And then the culture is like, "What? What are you fucking talking about?" The same is true of mountains. People use mountains as borders a lot too, but it's not like there's ever one mountain with one peak at the top, right? Mountains are usually they usually go on for a while, and there's usually civilizations, little villages throughout the mountains and every little valley that goes. And so when you go down the Pyrenees and you start cutting towns in half, which France and Spain literally did, you're like and telling one side you're French now, and one side you're Spanish. It's a little ridiculous, right? But it's like it's the things we use for it's at least in the old world, the things used for borders are rivers and mountains, right? You look for a natural landmark, but the natural landmarks that exist are actually pretty poor when grouping peoples, because you're literally cutting cultures in half and being like, "Ooh, you're Spanish now, you're French now." Later on when we started using like like the 40th parallel or whatever, and our borders became a little more random. But it's it is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, are there even any borders? Do we even don't even know where the real borders are. I mean, we have rough borders in Ice and Fire, but we don't really know where the real borders are. Yeah. What are we, some kind of European Union? Top 4% of watchers remember the first video I watched, Post Apocalypse, almost 10 years ago. Really? Oh, interesting. That was a good one. The watched Ivanhoe 52 with fiance for the first time Friday for the 30th. Did you watch Ivanhoe 52 all the way through, Carmine, or did you just watch pieces of it?
No, I just watched the jousting scene you sent me.
It's a fascinating watch in the sense that obviously it's an older movie, so it's more boring than modern movies, and we have short attention spans, and so it's hard to like take it. But like scenes linger on. And you're like, why didn't they cut the scene? A guy's walking across the set, and it just like takes forever. But the language they use is like so like it's so like old timey. They try to it's even further than like Ice and Fire by far. Like all of the characters, on trying to speak old timey. But that's the funny thing about Ivanhoe is it's a good script. It's really good script, but they're just like, he slaps the glove in my face, how dareth that knight, stuff like that. Are you Saxon or are you Norman? I am Saxon. If I ran for office, could you endorse me? I'm in the top 1% of your viewers. Also, where do you see the Iron Islands ending up? Asha as queen, Theon? Well, I mean, I can endorse you depending on your political platform. I would have to see your political platform. If you're like, oh yeah, I'm running for office and I'm totally for the Christian nationalist and I'm gonna shut down every Planned Parenthood in my area. I probably wouldn't support you. But yes, if you've got a good platform, I can support you. But
a couple of books.
No. But where do I see the Iron Islands ending up? I mean, I do wonder if at the end, if anyone is going to be head of the Iron Islands. Like, obviously Asha ruling things seems like that's where the show went, and it seems like the logical step. But I do wonder, like, I do think there's going to be another Kingsmoot. Like, I think they set up the idea that there's going to be another Kingsmoot. They need to have this Kingsmoot. How does Asha win another Kingsmoot? Does Theon win the Kingsmoot? I don't know. Does Aeron win the Kingsmoot? I think Aeron winning the Kingsmoot is more interesting, right? He's the one that actually wanted to rule. But that's the thing, is you have to subvert expectations. Like, who would be, logically speaking, the one who would win a Kingsmoot? I think Aeron, if he ran, would win the Kingsmoot. People fucking loved Aeron. Can they really get over things and accept Asha? I don't know. Will Aeron survive that long, or is he going to get killed off? I don't know. But yeah. Trump getting the FIFA Peace Award has to be an alternate universe. Well, I mean, it's fitting in that FIFA is like the most corrupt, evil organization on the planet. Like, everyone accepts that, right? Like, everyone knows that FIFA is the most corrupt, evil organization on the planet. But as much, I mean, people that love soccer like understand and recognize this. They're like, despite soccer being controlled by the most evil and corrupt organization on the planet, I still love it. Like, you know, Europeans are torn by this fundamental problem, right? That the organization is so evil, and yet it controls something so precious. So, Carmine, you're a big FIFA fan?
No, homie, I'm like you. I only watch the World Cup. I only watch soccer
Yeah.
when the World Cup is in town.
Yeah, fair enough, man. You're just not into sports in general. So
That's not true. I watch something here and there, but it's just
yeah,
for the World Cup. It's the nations going up against each other. That's fun.
yeah.
By the way,
It's
did you see the
so
three host
hilarious though,
countries?
because they like. I mean, it's just so like it's just so mocking, and like I find it like I just can't believe like Trump even participated. Like he's just so gone and dumb. Like it's so belittling to go up there and be like, "Oh, you didn't win a Nobel Peace Prize, but we've gotten you the FIFA Peace Prize. Here, let's have a whole celebration for you." Like it's just so obvious, like so
But they
fucking
had to kiss the ring though, because part of the whole thing is making sure people coming from all over the world don't get fucking deported. That's going to be like kind of bad for them in a sense. Plus,
mm,
by the way, they gave the three host countries, Mexico, Canada, and
mm,
America, the easiest blocks.
yeah.
Like Mexico
Well,
sweeps,
Well,
Canada.
usually the host country gets automatically qualifies, but I guess if there's three host countries, you can't have them all fucking automatically qualify, right? I mean, they did it for Japan, Korea. They had both Japan and Korea automatically qualify, but um, so I got I don't know. I guess they
Like
didn't.
USA Group D, USA, Paraguay, Australia, and winner player off C, whoever's that's going to be.
Or is it
But
automatically qualified puts them in the first round that they're already
in the
in?
first round, yeah.
Okay. It doesn't bring you to the brackets.
Yeah,
Okay.
but America is probably going to sweep Group D. I know you're rooting for Paraguay, but America is probably going to sweep.
First of all, America never ceases to disappoint in the World Cup, where you're just like losing to Ghana like every fucking time. Like Ghana, like come on, like no, like America will straight up lose to. There's
I
a
don't
good
know,
chance they'll
man.
lose
I
to
don't know.
Paraguay, tie Paraguay.
Ghana's pretty good though. Ghana was pretty good. They're
Not that
pretty
I mean,
decent.
America should have beaten them in all those years that Ghana just keeps fucking schooling America. United States always disappoints in the World Cup, and then it's fantastic. It's,
Like they gave Argentina like the easiest group to Algeria, Austria, Jordan. They're gonna sweep there. Who's got the
oh,
toughest? I think. Who's
oh,
got the
goodness,
toughest? I think maybe. Yeah, like group I: France, Senegal, Norway, and whoever's going to be in there. France is going to sweep as per usual. I think England might have the toughest group. Maybe. Hmm.
mm, mm. I can't even give them a United Kingdom team. There's apparently special rules on on like on like the World Cup, like and people getting grandfathered in under certain rules, which is why like England exists and can separately qualify. Scotland can separately qualify. I think Gibraltar. There's a question of whether if Gibraltar put together a soccer team, if they could go in as an independent country, but um, yeah. We should probably come up with an official nickname for the fans higher than 8%. Preston, what if we call ourselves the Brave Companions? That's pretty good. You could be the because you're the goat. Is that the idea? Because you're the goat. Bloody mummers. Hota the Gota. Yes. So people that are bigger fans of my channel than me are the brave companions. Because they're the goat. um Hi Preston, love your work. I'm a writer from Brazil, and your rereads on Game of Thrones have really helped me. Could Dream Songs be adapted to a Black Mirror-y Love, Death, and Robotics kind of an anthology series? I mean, that's a good idea. I So currently HBO owns everything that George R. R. Martin like ever wrote, um, with the exception of Night Flyers, because he sold those rights prior to selling all of his work to HBO, and Wild Cards because he did that collaboratively. And I don't, and probably not Windhaven. Windhaven is probably also not owned, or like Shadow Twin or things he wrote collaboratively. Um, so there was some discussions from like some very loose discussions from HBO about maybe they could adapt Tough Voyaging or something, one of George's like series. And it's true that like, you know, I think it could work. George did try to take some of his stories and pop them into there's an Outer Limits called Sand Kings that's nothing like his story Sand Kings, but nonetheless like they tried to make a Sand Kings. So yeah, a lot of his stuff there's short stories, they're sci-fi related. You could totally do an anthology show, like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, Tales from the Dark Side, or whatever, Black Mirror, where you took a George R. R. Martin short story, and told it. You know, you could do a thousand. You know, you could do a Thousand Worlds show, like Thousand Worlds. You know, and then every week something different. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try it. Every time they've tried to adapt things that are George R. R. Martin's other works, they don't seem to do that well. In the Lost Lands was recently a movie. It bombed. The Night Flyer series on Sci-Fi didn't get very good ratings. Wild Cards wasn't picked up by Peacock. Am I missing anything, Carmine? Do you remember anything else that they tried to make of George R. R. Martin? They should.
I think that's pretty much it. I don't understand why they don't just do like a miniseries Fever Dream. That one seems like a
That would
slam
be
dunk.
great. I mean, Fever Dream would probably adapt really well. But again, I think like, you know, they're like, if it's not exactly Westeros medieval shit, um, you know, they're not interested. You know, that's it. They're like, I understand that it's George R. R. Martin, but it's. I think they're very shy when you look at the performance of his other work. It just hasn't done well.
The super chatter is correct in the sense where George has enough short stories to have like his
Mm-hmm.
own one or
Oh,
two
absolutely.
seasons of like a Twilight Zone or a Black Mirror series. So I don't.
Yeah, you could do it. I mean, he has so many of the stories too. I mean, he has literally dozens of them. I mean, you could run it for 8 or 9 seasons, like, and not run out of material. Um, but man, um, Press about to reveal John's parentage in the Hotat chapter. Not John's, not John, but there's but yes, who the fuck is Quaithe? Well, this is what we're kind of getting at, is that, you know, we're leading into the reason the Danny chapter has been delayed for so long and so many years, on going forward, is that Danny and Danny 2 is going to, in the fanfic, is going to go to Karth, and so she's going to meet Quaithe again, and that's a big deal. And so, like, we don't necessarily have to reveal who Quaithe is in that chapter, but we need to start hinting at who Quaithe could be in that chapter. You know, so. But yeah, so I mean, I'm I'll try to sit down and put together the Daenerys chapter call this week. But man, it's I've got to, for the most part, I'm thinking about Dany showing up at Karth on her dragon, accompanied by maybe one Dothraki, and and then her demanding to speak first to Zaro, and then speak second to a warlock, and speak third to Quaithe. And then like one by one they will come out, and she'll host them at you know at Vaes Taluro and speak with them, and you'll have these three conversations. Is my idea on the chapter, that she'll talk to those three characters, like a warlock, Zaro, and Quaithe. I don't know, Carmine. Anything else that needs to happen in Karth?
I'm pretty sure you covered like most of it. Like Quaithe is like the big one though.
Yeah, yeah,
Quaithe
absolutely.
is like the main one. And also, I also know your plans with like where you plan on taking Dany and the people around her. So, um, Quaithe is the big one.
Yeah. Do you think Dany should take Quaithe with her?
Isn't Quaithe much more fun when she's like a mysterious person, not a part of Dany's retinue?
Hmm.
Like do you think by like answering that mystery, you're taking a bit of the fun out of it?
Hmm. You don't know. I don't know. You know,
Food for thought.
to just leave her there to constantly be talking to her through a glass candle whenever she wants.
Sure, why not? Hey, by the way, I was meaning to ask you since we learned about George's plans with the Maester stuff, how he planned on having all the Maesters meet up. Are you planning on doing anything with that, or like an
No,
idea
because
for all?
I think the nature of the glass candles has been. I think he didn't go with it. He didn't go with the nature of the glass candles being immortal. I mean, I do think that, like, yes, the Maester conspiracy is a real thing, and that all existed. But the thing is once the Ironborn kind of come in and might destroy the Citadel, like if the Maesters were power players, well, they're no longer fucking power players when the when the Ironborn come in and like burn the Citadel down or whatever. So that's kind of like that's that with them. I mean, you can hear about like you'll get the eventual reveal that yes, they got rid of the dragons. This was their big plan, stuff like that. But you know, what's their role going forward? I don't know if there is any role for them going forward. Like they already succeeded in what they wanted to do. They got rid of the Targaryen. They got rid of dragons, and they got rid of the Targaryens. So and then they just kind of is there any, is there any more? I don't know what else they achieved what they wanted to achieve. What more can they do? What more can they be part of I mean, they can try to stop Dany and Aegon. I guess they can be, they can try to poison them later on or something. Kill the dragons later on. I don't know. What would you have? What would you have? I mean, I just wouldn't know what to do with like a bunch of maesters that are immortal with glass candles. What would I do with them? What would I do with that? I don't know. Too many plots already.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
So says George.
But yeah, no, we'll get some big hints on who Quaithe is. Yeah, first Dunk trailer, you see helmet, doesn't have visor. Yeah, even though Carmine and I we have a discussion of how like there is this weird ridge at the top that might just be because it was them building the helmet and wanting the actor to be able to open it up or something. But it's definitely he definitely puts it on, over the top, and it's not supposed to open. So it's good. It's good they got that down. The thing is, everything in the Dunk and Eggs trailer looks great. It's great. Obviously it's a fucking fantastic source material. It looks all great. Carmine and I have heard from a couple different sources from people that have seen early episodes that they thought that the humor is the weird part of it. That might be the one downfall, that there's some weird humor, that the jokes don't necessarily land. But I don't know. What do you think? How are you just cautiously optimistic?
Cautiously optimistic. We'll have to see, man, because like the term you covered it. We covered it in the fucking you said it in the trailer review thing we did. People like to use the term Marvel humor way too much, and I don't feel like they really know what it means.
Right.
So
yeah. Did I tell you I got this email? Yeah, let me see if I can send you a copy. What happens if I just paste this?
email from who specifically, or are you not allowed to say?
I'll tell you. Here you go.
Boodum. I got it. Let me see.
That's why I say it's like now it's a couple different sources who have like watched early material who are kind of complaining about the same thing.
By the way, someone made a very good point. Sir Arlen's grave is a little too shallow.
Oh yeah, it was totally shallow. Oh my gosh, like
I mean,
Dunk.
I don't think we pointed that out. Let's read here. This is too vague. This is like way too vague to really mean anything.
Right, but it's
really
like
much detail.
Right, but it's the same thing. It's like that there was a mention of the diarrhea scene again, and like about the humor of the humor being weird.
I'll see what I can uncover. I'll try to get more
you mentioned
information.
before too that somebody else had mentioned the diarrhea scene.
Yeah, we'll see. Because the poop humor, I mean, I'm not 12, so I don't find it funny.
Does anyone find poop? I mean, besides toddlers, I don't understand. I don't like when Return of the Jedi had 3 or 4 burp and fart jokes or whatever, and Phantom Menace had a bunch of burp and fart jokes. Like who thinks those are good ideas? Like, has anyone come out? Have you ever watched? Has any adult ever like watched something with a bunch of fart jokes and been like, "Man, that was great"? You know what my favorite part of Austin Powers Goldmember is when he like he like drank the glass of shit, and you're like, "Oh yeah, oh man, hilarious!" Like, no one likes, like, I don't understand. No one likes poo humor. Like, no one except for toddlers. Like, nobody. No one will ever rank like a movie that has a bunch of poo humor as like a fucking fantastic thing. Like, no one.
I'll see what I can uncover and I'll get back to you because a lot of what this guy said is very vague. I just went through it. It's
right. I mean, it's vague, but at the
vague.
same time, it's very similar to what your source, which is completely different. You know?
Right.
So I read these two things and I was like, that's the same thing twice. Anyway, complaining. Apparently, Duncan Eggs got a lot of weird humor, a lot of Marvel humor that some people don't think necessarily lands, and there's apparently some bad poop jokes that like might spoil things. So we'll see. We're seeing if there's going to be some poop jokes that ruin it all. So.
Well, here's the thing though: if the Duncan Egg comes out and it's not good, but George apparently fucking loved it, maybe we need to reevaluate George's taste versus the general.
I mean, George likes a good poop joke. Let's be honest. I mean, he didn't shit. He spent a lot of time on. He didn't shit gold. He spent a lot of fucking time building that up, and then there it was. He's like, "Ha, I got my poop joke."
That last Danny chapter. I mean,
that last Danny chapter. How did you and Carmine meet and agree to collaborate? Carmine's very good at just reaching out to people and finding people. So Carmine reached out to me after years and years ago. Some people were trying to bring down my channel through copyright strikes, and so he
Some people, you're so
some people.
generous. You're so. I won't say the
It was a
name.
long time ago now, so let's water under the bridge.
For
It's funny
you,
now
but
thinking
not
because
for
it's like
them.
everything today is just so irrelevant today because now everybody just like all of everything has been now like people some people they didn't like my channel and they were using the excuse that I wasn't crediting artists as like the reason to try to copyright strike my channel. And it's hilarious because now like everyone's art everything's been stolen, all writing, all stuff has been stolen by corporations and has now fed AI, which is now going to, and so like it's the point is like it's all a moot kind of thing. I mean, moot in the new definition of it, not the lawyer definition of it. But it's all past now. Like now you can use your AI slop shit to like which is stolen based on stolen art and stolen writing to generate stuff, and now that's just norm. So, but it's funny that it was like such a big deal like 10 years ago. Like, oh, how dare you like use somebody artwork and not
Let's
credit
be
them.
real here. They didn't like you. That was an excuse. You're right. They didn't
Yeah,
like you because you. I don't even remember the reason why they didn't like you. But the artist thing was an excuse, and I found out specifically it was an excuse because they had friends in the Thrones community who were YouTubers who were doing the same thing you did, not crediting
sure.
artists. But they didn't have a problem with those guys. They had a problem with
Right.
you. Gosh.
Yeah, and they themselves would take. I mean, all of a sudden like, oh, taking people's copyrighted materials is it's like then there's the argument of like if you draw a picture of Mickey Mouse, you don't actually own it because you drew a picture of Mickey Mouse and Disney owns Mickey Mouse. Well, Mickey Mouse is public domain, but if you drew a picture of fucking Scooby Doo is not actually your property. So when you draw a picture of Scooby Doo, it's actually the property of Hanna Barbera. So if if
What's
a,
funny is they do this against you, and then
yeah
you call them out for it, rightly so, and then they complain. Well, Preston saying this made us lose supporters. Then don't start shit. Then shut the fuck up. Don't start shit. Don't start shit. There won't be none. What are you gonna do?
yeah. Well, it was 10
You're a
years ago.
nice
Water
guy.
under the bridge. Water under the bridge. Yeah. If the Iron Isles aren't a kingdom, what are they? I guess they're a kingdom. I mean, they had a king. They seems like they're a kingdom. You know, So that's, that's about it. Mhm. Um, they met on Grinder. You see, it's a gay joke, Carmine. Yeah, yeah, it's a gay joke. Yeah, because gay people are funny. Accusing people of being gay is funny.
Right along with poop humor. Poop humor.
Yep. That's the humor. Um, the likelihood of an actual Kraken dragon hybrid coming out of the water in the Battle of Blood to become the secret third act new bad guys from the Song of Ice and Fire. That would be something. A Kraken and a dragon hybrid that can like go back and forth from air to water. Oh, that'd be something. I mean, it's like Alien versus Predator ending where you have a Predalien, you know, or whatever. Yeah, man. I think that might be too far.
You
I don't know
crack a
how that's.
dragon hybrid? What the fuck? And Benjen warged into it somehow. His soul
Benjamin
is in
worked
there.
into it. Oh, yeah, be nice.
That's what the horn
Um,
controls. Sorry.
Star Trek is Big Tent, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Infinite diversity is the line from Star Trek Enterprise. I don't know if you remember. He's like, I'm very much for, the the alien on the ship is like he's like, oh, the idea of to go and explore new civilizations. You're searching for infinite diversity. Um, oh, did Orville explain Star Trek's economy? Because Star Trek has never explained its economy. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Really? Because the way I remember Orville explaining it is that because of the replicator, people just like do stuff based on merit. I'm pretty sure Star Trek
Interesting.
explained that,
Huh.
right?
Yeah, that's
Like
nice.
even though everything is provided for you, it's like you get gratification from helping out your fellow man and based off merit. Star Trek has explained that, right?
I don't think so. The Star Trek
No.
kind of explained it like they've moved beyond caring about money, like in a moral unselfishness and like a moral sense. Like First Contact kind of said like the finding out that aliens existed had like fundamentally changed the nature of humanity to know that like they weren't alone in the universe, and all of a sudden it caused them to move beyond the desire for selfish
Right.
yeah.
Huh. By the way, dude, like I know you have a lot of shows, but you would really like Orville. It's so good. It is such a beautiful show. It's comedic in the first season because he has to do comedy, but once season 2 hits, like it's Star Trek all the way through.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's about Ashar and Ned, right? Yes, yes. We're talking about Hotah 3. Hotah 3 is about Ashar and Ned, yes. Why did Rhaegar choose Oswell no feats went to guard the Tower of Joy instead of Barristan the Bold, especially when the White Bull was also there? Well, the idea is that, like, I mean, you you go to war with the army you have. I believe was the thing that uh,
Weren't they also
Donald Rumsfeld
friends?
said. Oswald Went was his friend, was Rhaegar's friend. Nobody was Barristan's friend. Barristan is a fucking buzzkill, okay? No one wants to be Barristan's friend. Look, Barristan is a great knight, and everybody loves him in that sense, but who wants to fucking hang out with Barristan the Virgin, like wet blanket? Like nobody. Nobody wants to hang out with him. Meanwhile, like Oswell is he's part of the conspiracies. His dad is the one throwing the fucking tourney, Harrenhal tourney. All right, he's like key to the whole fucking thing. Um, so it's just you know. Now the White Bull is the unusual one because we hear about Rhaegar being friends with Arthur Dane, and Oswald Went. He's clearly they're somehow friends with him, and he's doing the tourney. But the White Bull is the one that's the suspicious one. Like, why is he there? So we get but I threw in a brief explanation of it in the Hotel chapter, but yeah, it's but Oswell is he's important, but I don't know if what White Bull, that's the weird one. But why Barristan wasn't there? Because no one wants to fucking hang out with Barristan. Like that guy's a loser. I mean, besides being the greatest knight in the land. I mean, come on. That chapter where he's all like gushing over Ashara Dane, like, oh my god, you're fucking you loser, dude. Like, if I had crowned her queen of love and beauty, would she have looked my way? Like, what are you thinking, dude? What are you thinking? Thank you, Mr. Havenfall. Um, have you thought about watching Succession? I've watched season 1 of Succession. It was fine. It was good. I feel like now that I know the ending, I don't need to watch the rest of it. I think it's fine. I got it. That's a lot. It's a lot of time and energy for I don't know. It's not that much payoff, I guess. You watched all of Succession, Carmine?
No, actually, people have been getting on me to get on it. It's one of those things where once you miss the hype train, watching with everybody, it kind of
That's what
feels
I'm
a little
saying.
weird.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. I totally agree. Dagmar Cleftjaw for King. That would be cool. Maybe it should be Dagmar. Dagmar is a good guy. Roderick the Reader. Yeah, Roderick the Reader would be a cool king. Either one. Um, yeah, exactly. I mean, I know cringe is like such a millennial word, but like if there is one thing that's fucking cringe in the world, it's the fucking FIFA World Peace Award. Like, oh my god, how pathetic! It's just so pathetic. Man would be so like it's so pathetic that he's like that he has such an easily exploitable ego, so fucking easily exploitable. uh, Gibraltar would lose every year 10. Yeah, I mean that's what's great. But you'd still have a team. Gibraltar, Isle of Man, other random British territories that could possibly qualify. Dutch team B, Curacao. Um, I kind of almost like the Night Flyer show. It was all yeah. It was almost okay. It was all it had some good acting here and there, and I thought their Thalamer, the psychic boy, I thought he did a really fucking good job, and he was really interesting. Uh, but yeah, and they definitely were making the Vulcan into something very interesting, but it's too bad it never got a second season. I would have liked to see a second season. It would have been nice. Do you think there is the thematic parallel with the Lannister story and Frankenstein? Saw the new one, thought may have come just because of Charles Dance. Um, trying to think, like, beside like with. I mean, we're obviously supposed to somewhat think about the Frankenstein's monster with regards to the mountain, but I mean, Frankenstein, like at least in the book. I mean, the book Frankenstein, I would say no, but we're talking about like movie Frankenstein, like probably there's some elements of Kyburn and movie Frankenstein there, which is I think what. But I can't think of anything with regards to like the book Frankenstein. But um, whatever happens, what happens to movie Frankenstein in the end? Does he get killed by a bunch of village people? Does he get killed by fire?
The new one with Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about like George would have been talking about the original Frankenstein like movie.
Mm.
Um, 2025 film. Is there an old film? Let's see. 18 based on the novel. Sorry, who knows these? Yeah. Uh, Frankenstein movie. Like I've actually never seen the old classic, a 1931 film. Um, at the end, oh right, the monster kills the scientist. Frankenstein, the monster kills the scientist, and the villagers bring him home while the rest of the mob set the windmill ablaze and kill Frankenstein inside, the monster inside. Huh. Okay. I think yeah. There's like kind of like the King Kong where he like wants to protect some woman. Is that idea? Um, Red's father Henry is attacked by the monster. The monster knocks Henry unconscious. I don't know. Anyway, it's just Frankenstein just burned to death at the end. Fair enough. Fair enough. I can't think of too much else. Um, what is Quaith and Marwyn's relationship? I don't think they have one currently. I think they are independently using different um, uh, glass candles. But then again, you're like, okay, if Marwyn was also in the East, maybe he met her. And then, like, what about Earthon Nightwalker and things like that? Like, how is it all connected? Maybe there should be a connection. Something to work out in Danny too, right? I got to think on that. Um, Miri Mazdor and such. Like, how does it all fit together? So I don't know. Um, are they? Is the idea is that, like, what are Quaith and Marwyn trying to do? How are they going to try to, like, um, are they on the same page? Do they have the same agenda? Is the idea, right? Um, Marwyn seems to be more interested in magic, and what's Quaith's interests? Which is why, like, I have to, gotta wait for this Hotah chapter to come out. I ugh. Yeah, like I say, like, I'm very nervous about this Hotah chapter. I've got to get it right. And so I'm sorry it's been taking so long, but I do want it to come out well. See, Carmine's like, oh, you're going too far, Preston. You're going too far.
You got some crazy ideas there, but I can't take too much.
Yeah, I know. Is wild cards any good? What the fuck is it? Wild cards. I mean, the long story, the too long didn't read. Wild cards is X-Men. But wild cards is George R. R. Martin's, like, like, superheroes team, but it's a collaborative books. There's collaborative books where different author writes each chapter, which is a story of a different superhero, and that's kind of the broad sense. And there's been a whole bunch of these books because they're very easy to produce because you just get one short story written by one artist who wants, or one writer who wants some notoriety, and they're mostly George's friends, and they just they write these stories and they pop them all together into a novel, and then they print it. That's the short answer, is that it's X-Men, in written form, not comic form, written by many, choosing a has been dropped on the world, and it killed a large number of people that got the virus, but it made a whole bunch of people into mutants called Jokers. But then it took a very slim amount and made them into, like, super powerful superheroes called Aces. So, and then anyone that got affected by the virus, like their children, like, are essentially, like, they can't have kids because they'll all be screwed up genetically too. And so it's just, so the wild cards, like the Aces, they fight various villains, and it's very dark. And the books are very dark. So, for example, there was a number of books about a group of villains called the Jumpers who could swap their consciousness with somebody else's. And so they would be constantly swapping their consciousnesses and trapping other people in different people's bodies. And at some point, our protagonist, Dr. Tachyon, gets jumped into a girl's body and gets raped by his own grandson. It's like fucking crazy shit, like, goes on in these books. Like, but are they any good? They're fine. They're nothing. They're not. I wouldn't say they're bad. I wouldn't say they're good. they're just fine. They're almost forgettable. It's almost like the problem with them is that there's nothing. Um, why would you go to Karth first? There's important shit. There's important answers that she wants from Karth. Okay, she doesn't want to go back to Marine first. She needs to get her answers first. You know. Um, but I don't know if she I don't know if she assumes that people are dead in Marine. She doesn't think that necessarily everything fell apart in Marine. Um, love your content, which you provide for free, paying what I owe like a real man. Oh, thank you, Fax Man. Wait, there's a diarrhea scene. I have not seen The Pianist, but there's a diarrhea scene in that. Um, Thanks for all you do, PJ. We're constantly told that the lack of wildlife north of the wall, yet Viramir Sixskins and Craster have plenty of plentiful food. Outside of mammoths and shadowcats, is their game? Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the problems with people's idea of north of the wall is the show. Like in the show, it looks like you go north of the wall and it's a fucking tundra, but in the book, it's forest. It's forest north of the wall. It's woods. It's the haunted forest. It's mostly forest. The Fist of the First Men is a hill jutting out of forest. And the reason that the attack on the Fist of the First Men is actually such a surprise is that the people coming in, the monsters, the others coming in, are hidden by fucking forest. Um, so yeah, Vermeer there were plenty of animals um, up until A Dance with Dragons. All of a sudden, in A Dance with Dragons, Bran does start describing north of the wall as having kind of a lack of wildlife, but that might be the others like killing off wildlife and making it undead. But I think like up until that point, like yeah, the others had to like live on shit. I mean, the wildlings had to live on shit. Right? So it seems like there was plenty of game up until like the Dance with Dragons, when all of a sudden it kind of all vanishes. But I mean, we're talking, like in a Clash of Kings, they're like they're scared of Shadowcats coming out. Varamir Sixskins and stuff like, they're able to hunt. They're able to. They, I mean, it's cold and he's got a good basement, but Craster's got plenty of food, right? I guess they start starving when coming back from the Fist of the First Men. But also keep in mind, there's hundreds of them, or maybe dozens of them, and they're all running, and they can't really. They're not in the mode of hunting. And there's a lot. If they did hunt, like how many people are you feeding? There's so many of you. So, um, but I do think that, I mean, I don't know how much game there is right now. Like, is the others collecting dead animals is an interesting thing. Like, do they have a bunch of dead squirrels? Um, we know that like Summer is prowling and is able to find some game, but he starts eating dead bodies eventually. Uh, mm, mm, mm. Uh, are the Wents still alive in the main series? In the original books, Shella Went just kind of disappears and is assumed dead, but we don't really know how or why or what happened. The Wents just kind of vanish, and everybody's just like, okay. Um, so, yeah, maybe she's missing. Maybe she died. We don't really know what happened to the Wents. They kind of just vanished from the story. Maybe they were killed in war, but we don't know. Thank you, AgroCag. Frankenstein monster in this case is the aforementioned Kraken Dragon hybrid. Like at Starfall, you've got this like it's Starfall. You've got all these like this beach, and they've like dragged this like Kraken up onto the beach near Starfall, and it's like tentacles are still able to like get in the water or whatever. And then they've got this dragon body, and they're like sewing it on like these two things together. This Kraken dragon, like on the beaches of Starfall, for Frankenstein's monster. Old Frankenstein is kind of bad, yeah. Frankenstein. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about like really what it would do. I mean, Dragon Demands. We were talking about the Warner merger. Dragon Demands was on earlier, and he mentioned that it's if it happens, and that's still a big if at this point. Like it would take like 2 years, and so if it would affect stuff, it would be down the line. But like I said, in general, monopolies don't produce good things. You know, when has life ever gotten better when a big company, a big conglomerate has bought shit? You know, like did Instagram get better? Like, do you like Instagram more now that Facebook owns it? Like, did Twitter get better after being bought by Elon Musk's ex companies? Like, do things get better when they get bought by a big company? No. For the most part, they feel like they can jack up prices and scrap services, and they add an extra layer of bureaucracy. Um, is Aegon the Fourth? Magat, a Tyrion Taisha parallel. Let me see about this. Mary Meg. Mary Meg was the second wife, or the second was a mistress of Aegon the Fourth. Riding near Fairmarket in 155, Aegon's horse threw a shoe when he sought out a local smith. He came to notice the young man's wife. He went to buy her for 7 gold dragons, along with the threat of Sir Joffrey Staunton of the Kingsguard. Maget was installed in a house in King's Landing. Oh, okay, that's similar. She and Aegon were even wed in a secret ceremony conducted by a mummer playing a septon. Princess Ceres put an end to it, returning Maget to her husband and placing their daughters with the Faith to be trained as septas. Maget was beaten to death within a year by the blacksmith. Oh. Oh. Maget was a merry maid she was, about her. And he gave her 4 bastard daughters, Alysanne, Lily, Willow, and Rosie. Um, hmm. I mean, I see what you're saying with like that she's given a house, and they can play at being man and wife, and Tyrion does describe his fortnight with Taisha as them like playing being man and wife or whatever for this like short period of time. Um, it's and then their father putting an end to it. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Uh, common born person. I mean, obviously, like Aegon buying her or whatever for 7 gold dragons is very different from the from Tyrion's relationship with his more consensual. But yeah, there's definitely elements in there that it's pretty clear that there were elements of the Taisha story that were put in there, having their own little secret house and having a someone wed them. But it's the idea that if you took it further and say, oh, they got a mummer to play Septon, maybe actually Aegon really did marry Meg, and and that the story became later that it was only a mummer and that it wasn't a real Septon in their secret ceremony. Because why would you have a secret ceremony conducted by a mummer like that? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point there? Does he think it's fun? Did Aegon think it's fun? Like, why would you get a mummer? Why would you even have the ceremony? It sounds like Aegon was actually married to Mary Meg. That would be my guess. And that I think you're spot on that it is a Taisha parallel. That Aegon had married Mary Meg, and then Viserys just undid it and told everybody that it was really a mummer. That would be my guess. Hmm. 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 Huh. Woody Guthrie also wrote a song about how racist Donald Trump's dad is. Yeah, I mean, people do wonder like what would have happened if Donald Trump hadn't been raised by a psychopath. Um, is George R. R. Martin's version of warfare realistic to actual warfare in medieval Europe, like burning villages, mass murdering peasants, torture, etc.? Um, I don't know. I mean, probably not. I mean, they I think real warfare, involves a lot more travel and baggage trains and uh, a lot of people kind of said that like when you're doing spear warfare that it's just not as exciting as the movies, and everybody's kind of like inching forward with spears and stuff like that. Um, I know there's some arguments about who was fighting the wars. Were they really putting spears in farmers' hands, or um, was that how it was done, or was there professional soldiers and things like that? Um, but the burning, but the burning villages, I don't understand why someone would bother burning the village. I mean, I understand the idea of going in and stealing all the food from a village, whatever. But what's the point of burning it down, and things like that? But mass murdering peasants, I'm sure that why bother? But I'm sure that those things happen in all wars. I suppose people murder peasants and burn villages. So I guess just the idea if it happens in modern wars, it would happen in other wars too. So I don't know. I mean, you'd have to talk to a medieval military expert. Usually historians tell you that the real world is much more boring than than the world of fiction. And um, so,
Preston,
yeah.
check your mic. See if you're still in your Yeti for the stream.
Oh, did I? Do you think I hit something?
Briefly, your audio cut out, and then you from like super clear to your top mic.
Okay, Yeti. Hold on a second. Okay, how am I sounding now?
Fine.
Okay. Okay. All right, almost done, almost done. Humpty doopy deep dap damp down. I feel like pre-Elon Twitter was barely usable. Like I had given up on following recent events. I think it's gotten better since. I don't know. I don't think Twitter's usable at all. I don't think it's functional. Like it's just so fucking racist and like um there's some things that like there's definitely things now that like completely like I don't think Facebook is functional at all. Like I think that is completely waste of time. Like you log into Facebook and it's just AI slop, like AI ads. It's like five AI ads and then like one post from like one friend that still uses Facebook. And you're like, why did I even check Facebook today? You know, and you're like, but you do, you do, because Messenger is there. I don't think Twitter is very functional at all. But like, that's the thing is like things have literally broken down. Like things just are like Google is not usable anymore. Like you use Google and it's a bunch of the AI summary goes on and you're like, what the fuck? It gives me the wrong information a quarter of the time, and so you can't trust it. And then you're searching for a fucking link, and it's just AI summaries. Like nothing's fucking usable anymore. I don't know if I'm old man like screaming at a cloud, but I find nothing of value on Twitter. I mean, granted, I stopped using for moral reasons, but like I tried. I went on like a couple months ago, and I was just like, "This is waste of time. Like, what is this for?" You know. Um,
Real quick before you continue on, do you mind if I answer this one person here?
sure.
Cash the quick. This person said, same can be said for YouTube to what you're saying. Why am I eating 8 ads for a 4-minute video? So, Preston, when you upload a video and you're on the ad part of it, you notice how like whatever video you upload, YouTube always puts an ad every 2 seconds. You ever
Yeah.
notice that? I
Yeah.
put out
They dialed it back a little bit, but yeah, definitely like their auto ad thing was berserk a couple months ago.
well, here's what I was gonna tell this person, Cash the Quick. This is YouTube inserting AI into our videos.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing 8 ads in a 4-minute video, that's because the uploader is not checking and managing manually their ads in the video, because you have to do that. Because if you don't do that, if you just put up the video and click upload without doing anything else, you're
Yeah.
going to get like 8 ads in a
Mhm.
4-minute video. You have to manually go in there and remove some of them,
Remove.
because
Yeah. You have to remove. You
YouTube's
cut
AI
the
thing is
ads out
crazy.
like 50% or 75% because they put so many in. Um, yeah, I mean AI is making things worse. It's making YouTube worse. But yeah, everything. It's just man. Remember when it just used to be nicer. Things used to be nicer. You know what I started doing for the first time is I started just searching
Mm.
for stuff within Wikipedia, like their search. I used to use Google and say something wiki, and then go to the or Wikipedia, and then it'll bring me to the right Wikipedia article. Now I'm just like because Google's so broken, I use the Wikipedia search now. That's how broken Google is.
This is an actual phenomenon. It's called enshittification. Literally, look
Mm.
it up. There's like an article on this. The enshittification of everything, services, food, just like the build quality of everything has gone down. It's just, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the moon meteor theory? Do you have an alternative way in the fanfic for the wall to break or for the others to get south? Um, the moon meteor theory is the one that isn't that the one where like like when the moon broke, according to Jeekwee's tale, that it was the thing that like destroyed like the arm of Dorn and stuff like that, and something like that. I don't really buy it. I don't think there was really two moons. I don't think meteors were crashing. I think that the arm of Dorn breaks in the same way that the Bering Strait breaks, that it was just the ice age ended, and that's it. I don't think there's anything like, I think George like specifically made it at the same time period, 14,000 years ago. That you don't like anytime there's a regular in world scientific explanation for something. I just believe that rather than believing in either some magic or super big supernatural event. So like the breaking of the arm of Dorn, like we have ice ages in our world that broke the arm at the Bering Strait. So 14,000 years ago in Westeros, we have a similar event occurring. Why would I assume it was any different than our world? That it was an ice age. That it was an ice age shift, like that caused the sea level to change. Like, why do I need another explanation when the natural world already explains it away? You know, you're like if it starts raining in the Catelyn chapter in a Storm of Swords, you know, can I believe that the rain occurred for natural reasons, or do I have to think of a moon meteor? Like, like, can I just accept that rain like things like there's evaporation and there's clouds and they rain and everything? Like, can I just accept that? Like, that's my belief about like the Arm of Dorn. Like, we have like the regular explanation. Like, we don't need magic when the real world does that already, you know? Like ocean levels rise and fall because of ice ages. Like, that's just something that happens on Earth. So um
Well, it's that,
but
and also George debunked it.
oh
Not on purpose, but remember, Elio was asked this question, and Elio said he brought it
oh
to
about
George
liquid,
about
yeah.
like astrology and the moon and all
Mhm.
that stuff, and George said no, it doesn't matter. So technically,
Doesn't matter,
George
it's
R. R.
just
Martin
garbage.
has already disproven all of that.
But do I have an alternate way for the wall to break, for the others to get south? Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'll say that there's a million ways for well, I wouldn't say a million, but there's like a dozen ways for the others to get south. Okay, so you've got you've got one, you've got the Bridge of Skulls, you've got Eastwatch by the Sea, you have by boat, you have ice bridges freezing going around, you have Gorn's Way, you have the Black Gate, you have climbing over. Like there are just a lot of ways. There are, so they can pick one of them. I have one kind of decided, but we'll see we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I mean, the others aren't going to get south until the end of the winds of winter. So it ways off before just getting to that. But yeah.
When are you going to have them defeated? Is it going to be a Time of Wolves or?
Well, I mean, so the plan is like by the end of the Winds of Winter, all of our main characters are back in Westeros. That's rule one.
Right,
Okay.
and then A Dream of Spring is when they're going to deal with the White Walkers, and then the story will officially end in the ninth book. I'm sorry, the eighth.
No, 7 books. 7 books, man.
No, man, like we talking about the eighth book, A
Mm,
Time of Wolves. What are you
yeah,
saying?
yeah. So the idea is everybody south of the Wall and everybody back in Westeros by the end of the Winds of Winter. That's the goal. Everyone back. Arya back, Quentin back, Victarion back, Danny back, Um, Brand South. Everybody back on in Westeros. That's the idea. It's closing out all of that and moving towards Harrenhal, and everybody with a reason to go to Harrenhal. Everybody with a focus to go to Harrenhal is the idea. Potential global conflicts that go underreported. I mean, almost all global conflicts go underreported, right? At least in America, we hardly get any international news. Honestly, as Americans, you have to like go to BBC or Al Jazeera to get like world news. It's like we're so bad at it now. We just don't do it. But there's, let's see, I don't know. There's an attempted coup in Benin, but are there, I'm not sure what conflicts are going. Besides like obviously like the ones that are always going. Like there's always something going on in Congo. There's always something going on in Palestine. There's of course Ukraine. But that's the thing. People don't report that, because you have to. You have to have a reporter there. I don't know anything. Trying to think of where conflict is right now. What does BBC tell me? It's all Ukraine, Venezuela. That's the thing, is it takes the oxygen away from like places where there could be other issues. And finally, can you manually put ads on video? You can still manually put them in. I think YouTube also states that they still have the right to like put ads on places besides where you choose to have them or not. Is that true, Carmine?
Not necessarily. So let's say, for example, you have a 5-minute video. YouTube decides to put an ad on minute 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you're like, no, I just want one ad at minute 3. So you put it in at minute 3. YouTube can come in and say, we think that's disruptive. No. So wait a minute, that's disruptive, but putting one ad every 5 seconds is not? Are you out of your fucking mind?
That's the annoying thing, is that like when you want to put an ad in a specific place, they're like let us check on that, and then you have to wait like fucking 3 minutes or something. And they're like actually that's disruptive, and it's really annoying. It's really annoying.
That's disruptive, but like one every like minute is not okay.
Right.
Like it's yeah. Sometimes they let it go, sometimes they don't. But by the way, just so you know, even if you put out a video, Preston, that does not have any ads on it, like your fanfic chapters, YouTube reserves the right to put ads on it anyway and profit.
Right. That's what I'm talking. Yeah. So that can happen. Yeah. So they can make money on it. Right. But there, yeah. Oh well. Oh yeah, Sudan. Yeah, hardly. There's always something in Sudan, and so right now, also just like in general, because of USAID getting gutted, you're talking about like millions of people everywhere, like dying, which is also like a crisis. But because it's not concentrated in one place, you don't necessarily like hear about it, or it's just not that exciting of a story because there's not a big explosion, but Um, yeah, it was pretty rough anyway. Anyway, Carmine, any last things before we head to bed?
I mean, nothing on the Ice and Fire side other than Duncan Egg was shown at the Brazil CCXP, and
Hmm.
the actor for Dunk, he got a surprise video from two members of the cast from other shows. The guy who plays Jamie Lannister and the guy who plays Kristen Cole gave them like a welcome to the series type of information. But I find it funny that they picked Jamie Lannister, the guy who played Jamie Lannister, and Kristen Cole, two Kingsguard, of course. That's what they were going
Right, right,
for.
right. I guess that's
But some of the most
the idea.
dishonorable, I
Yeah.
guess. But compared to Dunk,
I mean, two Lord Commanders, I guess too.
sure.
Yeah.
No Barristan actor. Homie's
Barristan
persona non
Astor's he's too
grata.
bitter. He's too bitter.
Of course. Can you blame him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, George went did a recent interview with the at Oxford, I believe, and
Mhm.
nothing new. Just same old, same old. I think he's done more cons this year than any other year ever. I think he did WorldCon, Bubonicon, um, New York City Comic Con, Icelandic Con, and I guess and another appearance at some library, and now this appearance. So far 6 in the course of like 5 months. He's traveling a lot, which means, well, you know,
Huh.
you know what that means. And there's motherfuckers not riding winds in winter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's he's been yeah, it's true. That's so. Whenever George travels, he does not write when he travels. He only writes when he's in his cave, his little man cave, um, in front of his computer. So he there's been
Doesn't
because
write or
he's been
blog.
traveling and going to cons a lot this year. There's been no progress on the Winds of Winter. He hasn't even posted on his blog in months. So
I think
Trump
actually
Tower,
today it's been
yeah,
2 months.
that's a
Yes, as of
long,
today, 2 months.
yeah. Hmm.
Dan, George's retirement tour. Chill. Chill, dude. I have faith.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Serbia with Trump Tower Belgrade. Weird. I mean, all of this stuff is weird. These like Jared Kushner corrupt shit. Like this wink wink of like you give us money and yeah, and a place to funnel money and we'll work with you diplomatically or treat you better diplomatically. It's just this pay to play bullshit.
Yeah,
Um,
but Preston, come on, dude. Burisma and Hunter Biden. Burisma, come on. Like Burisma, Hunter Biden. Like, come on, stop.
oh God, oh God.
I love Longshanks here. It means he's done and has free time. Wins 2026 confirmed. Doorways revival. Here we come. I
I
want to
know, I
leave.
know. Doorway's revival, man. Yeah, no, it's pretty sad at this point. It's pretty sad at this point, but we'll try to get the fanfic going. Man, it like hurts me that Carmine was so worried about the Hota chapter. He's worried about the Hota
No, I
chapter.
just find it. I'm not worried. I just find it funny that there's like 17 Hota chapters and like Arya gets one. Danny already had just one. Jamie one. You know, like Sam has like five. You know.
Sam has two. Okay, Hota
Oh,
has two. Hota has three. Sam has two. So far, Jamie is about to get his second. Danny's about to get her second. Like we're moving into everybody's second. I mean, except for Brienne, who hasn't had any. So come on.
bro's gonna make sure Hota kills the Night King.
Doorways 1995. Four, never lose faith. Oh man, man. It's just, you know, everything's turning to shit in the world. Oh shit. I've got to do something real quick. Oh man. They're like, my computer's like, you're running out of space. Oh fuck, I better delete something quick. What's this one? Oh good. Yeah, I can delete this. Come on. Finder, empty trash. Get rid of that. Yeah, come on. Empty that shit. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for being with me, and I will see you guys next time. All right. Later.